Hi readers, welcome back to my channel, Lila Wanders and Reads. Lee here, and welcome to Saturday Snacks, which I am just getting in under the wire. I'm recording this on Saturday morning, actually. Have been meaning to do this one for a while. I wanted to do it at Christmas, but the year kind of got away from me. So, the cookbook I'm going to feature this week is one that I will probably never cook from. Why'd you buy it then? You'll see. One of my favorite things to do on Saturday and Sunday mornings is grab myself a cup of coffee and then sit in bed and watch the Great British Baking Show until I'm so hungry that I have to get up. It is one of my favorite shows. I love it because there's no drama aside from the bakes themselves. The cast all seem to get along, they are friendly with each other, they root for each other, and there's no backbiting or anything like that. All the drama is in the bake, and I love that. And it's just such a comforting show for that reason. So, I bought the Great British Baking Show's A Bake for All Seasons with recipes by Paul Hollywood, Prue Leith, and the Bakers. I'm not sure what season this is from. I called myself looking for it. It might be season 10, but they don't say. But it's this season, if you can see that. And it was one of my favorite seasons. And there are just beautiful recipes in here. Like I said, I'll probably never cook from it. But I did want to show you some of the recipes that if I were going to bake, I would. The first one is Christelle's Chai and Jaggery Cake. I've got to admit, there are 3 reasons that I would probably never make anything, including this Chai and Jaggery Cake. One is, this is all the directions are in British, which is in Celsius, and there are ingredients like jaggery that I'm not sure of. I know I could go online and order it, but usually when I order some special ingredient, by the time it gets here, I've forgotten what I wanted it for. But I love chai, and this seems like a delicious cake. The other reason I will probably not ever bake from this is that I just don't have the patience for baking. I know at the pandemic, when everybody except for me was staying home, a lot of people were into sourdoughs and making bread. I never had the time to do that. I had to continue to work. But I just don't have the patience. Even if I had been staying at home, I wouldn't have had the patience to become a baker. Especially with layers, and baking is about weights and yields and yada 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 yada. But this dark masala, again another like chai-ish tea and stout Christmas cake, looks fabulous. I thought there was a third reason I wasn't going to bake from this, but that's really it. I'm impatient and I don't want to do conversions, because conversions in temperature, gas versus electric, can really make a difference. One last little bit about this. The British really love their dried fruits, and I am not a dried fruit fan. I tried to do, using dried fruit in breads and cakes goes back years, hundreds, thousands of years in British history. I tried to figure out why. The only thing they say in this book is they add sweetness and moisture, which is useful if you want to reduce refined sugar. I tried to see if I could bring that back to the war. Sorry, I'm shaking the table. To the wars, but I couldn't really, because it seemed like it might have predated that. I don't know. Anywho. But they use dried fruits in almost every recipe in this book. To conclude with, this is one actually I could see myself making. It's Prue's malt loaf. I could see myself making it because it's a loaf. It has black tea in it, but it's got raisins, pitted prunes, bicarbonate of soda, black treacle, and malt extract for glazing. Oh, plus extra for glazing. So I feel like I could make this. I'm just not sure I want a raisin loaf bread. Treacle and the aromatic spiciness of ginger. I didn't see ginger in here. Black tea bag, water, raisins, prunes, bike of soda, malt, treacle, muscovado, flour, powder, eggs. Where does the ginger come from? I'm not sure. But why did I buy this book if I know I'm never going to cook from it? When I look through these pictures, it makes me feel like I'm watching the Great British Baking Show. That's a tongue twister. And it makes me feel good. If you like the Great British Baking Show and are a good baker, I do recommend this. And if you do, let me know, because I'd love to taste some of these desserts. I just probably never will, except for in my imagination. But if you love that and are not a good baker, another book that made me feel the way I feel when I'm watching the Great British Baking Show is one of my favorites of 2024. I talked about it in another video, but that is Mrs. Quinn's Rise to Fame. I absolutely love this book. It's obviously based on the Great British Baking Show, but Mrs. Quinn, 70-some-odd-year-old woman, decides to join this reality show, and I do have in here, the English like dried fruit far more than I, because at the very beginning, Mrs. Quinn is making a tea loaf. And I just love this book so much that, like the series, I didn't want it to end. Anywho, that was kind of a rough Saturday snacks for me. Wasn't as prepared and was trying to rush it and get it done. But if you like these Saturday snacks and the cookbook spotlights on the weekends, hey, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And until next time, happy reading, happy eating.